I've now clicked the start button, so if there's a delay, I'll probably come in mid-sentence. Let's give Red Bull their blood money here. They're advertising that they pay generously for it. / haven't.
Getting those wings on.
Very tired, but I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about the animes. Okay. me. La 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 la. Prep. This is prep. This is how the professionals prep for podcasting. Ugh. All right. You ready, Shadon? Oh no, you just blinked out. Now you're back. Good.
I thought I'd changed the server because we were having problems with stuttering. I think it's now fixed your video issue, funnily enough.
Oh, good. Perfect.
Yeah, you kind of like... Never mind, it's working. Magic. Great.
Yay,
let's hope it stays working.
Magic. I love magic.
May it never break again.
Because that's going to happen.
It never split.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and NPs. I am the Subtle Doctor. This is Warui Deshou, an anime podcast so very bad it loops back around to being good. And we are here today to talk about the new season of anime. This is something we haven't done before, but I'm excited to do it. It's not just me, of course, the heretofore, but not probably going forward, silent partner of mine. Not a power move for Galia, but he's positioned below me on the stream window. But that does not reflect our ontological status.
So you say. So you say.
True.
You talk a big game.
This man is a wise and wonderful being. Your anime buddy and mine, hug pillow aficionado, Shadon.
Hey everyone, taking time to appear on the podcast during the week after successfully escaping my recent transformation into a kappa. Thank you, Yukinon, for that.
Man, that was brilliant. That was I can't say enough about like what a good artist and what a good sport Yuki is. That was I've never had fan art drawn about me. So
neither have I, to be fair.
That was pretty cool. that was really, really cool. So a big thanks go to Yuki.
I was genuinely blown away by that. So if you're listening, Yuki, thank you so much for it. It's hugely appreciated. If ever I bump into you at a Guilty Gear tournament or the like in the future, I will buy you some sort of alcoholic beverage as thanks. Even a more expensive one, I'm not going to go cheap on this shit. I'll get you the premium goods. You got my word on that.
Shadon's word. As good as the word of...
Hope?
Oh, I lost it. I was trying to think of the name of... Yes. It is as good as the word of the Pope. I was trying to go higher than the Pope. We have to aim higher. Okay?
Ooh, that's a high standard.
But we have high standards. And I was trying to think of the name of the family from Fruits Basket. And I was going to say your word is as good as the head of the family.
The Soma family.
Yes, the Soma family. Just think of the Brave New World drugs. and there you go. To
be fair, Fruits Basket is a drug. It's a good kind of drug. Everyone makes you happy.
Absolute best kind.
Indeed. So in case you've not gathered, folks, we're currently here not to talk about Sounds of Mai today. We're actually going to do kind of a quick chat about some of the shows that we've been watching from the start of this season. Just give you some of our opinions. It's not going to be a full-blown chat about all of them, of course, because we'd be here for hours otherwise. Doing a stream of thought is all well and good on a single show, but maybe it's worth us talking about other shows, just a little overview of what we caught up with. And there are 3 shows in particular I want to talk about today. First of which you might have already gathered was, of course, Fruits Basket. The second of which will be Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba. I'm probably butchered that, I'm so sorry.
Kimetsu no Yaiba.
But then again, Demon Slayer is all about the butchering, so I suppose it's on brand.
Yep.
And lastly, I want to talk about One Punch Man Season 2, and the two's... that's an unfortunate number to have. I'm going to be really mean to that show, aren't I?
Okay.
I feel really bad already.
Well, look, we'll probably disagree about OPM Season 2, but this is what people like podcasts where the hosts... Excuse me, the Red Bull. Jesus. Fucking hell.
Where the host, tries to shill products and then somehow nearly kill themselves in the process.
Exactly. Yeah, the taurine overwhelms those. No, where the hosts have where we disagree, and you have hot takes and opinions clashing against each other. So the bad news, though, I mean, I'm really looking forward to this, but just on the front end, we want to say that this podcast, this stream is happening, I think in large part because we won't have a Saraz and Mai. Well, maybe that's unfair to say in large part, because you and I really did want to do this. I think regardless, this is the first season I've watched, like, the seasonal premieres in a while. Like, I don't know, the anime stirrings are happening in my nerd loins here this season. For whatever reason. But yeah, so we're not doing Saraz and Mai this week because of Good Friday, because Easter. A couple of us have plans, and so we're going to put that off to next week.
I'm going to be smashing those chocolate eggs something fierce. Don't you worry about that.
But we have, but we wanted to do a stream for you guys. Manira asks, "How is Fruits Basket?"
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, we'll get into it in due course. But yeah, let's. My shows, I think the three that you brought up, I have seen everything that's been out so far. The only other one, I wanted to watch Robohachi. I was recommended it by Dana, who goes by Blue Sea Devotee on this channel.
Yes.
And she said, "Hey, Doc, she recommends me a mini anime, like at least one a season that I always mean to watch. But I'm going to watch Robohachi. Unfortunately, I just didn't have time to get to it before this. But I did make time for Mix, Meisei Story, and man, I won't like talk too much about it because you haven't seen it, and I don't want to just talk at you. But I do want to talk about it briefly when we get to it. So yeah.
Clearly, I need to, get another sideshow that you're not watching at the same time. Like the, I mean, I'm going for a Crunchyroll here. What have we got? We've got Nobunaga Teaches Young Bride. Yeah, put me down for that. Sounds great. Fantastic. There was that other one which I think was about the girl with eyes, and I'm like, yeah, sounds exactly up my alley. Nice.
April is the cruelest month. T.S. Eliot was right.
Honestly, like, I think that, at the moment, like, there's always going to be that one show that gets unleashed every season that's just absolutely dire. It's a requirement. Like I don't know, like a blood sacrifice. In order to have the good stuff, you have to dump a complete shitter in there to have, to have it work. It's karmic balance, if you follow what I mean.
Some anime creators die for a time so that the rest of us might live.
Yeah. Well, more like they just inflict unconscionable amounts of pain on us through the shit that they put out. But, well, hey.
Oh.
Believe me. Oh.
Sorry.
Carolyn,
Apanovi just mentioned, like, I'm so distressed that I can't watch Carol and Tuesday. I've become a lazy nerd in my old age, and so I know I could just torrent it, but I mean, there's so much other shit to watch, and I really want to watch this show. I mean, it seems amazing, but fucking, I think I'm just gonna wait to click the easy button, the Netflix button, whenever it decides to show up. Speaking of this,
oh boy,
I just want to take this opportunity to like. And of course, I haven't checked this morning, so watch me do this rant and it be available as of this morning. Where the fuck is Kakegurui Season 2, Netflix? Where is it? It's done. It has finished airing. And you have it. I would like to see it. I really loved...
on a postcard, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Season 1, great. The live-action television drama, great. I want more. You're charging me more. You've gone up to $13 a month now.
I'm
Give
sorry.
me the anime!
I'm sorry. I have to stop you there, because it sounds a lot like you've just been denied your weekly fix from your local drug dealer.
Yes.
I mean, are you having the shakes? Are you going through withdrawal symptoms, Doc?
Something akin to that. I mean, is there another... Can I watch another television show about girls who are obsessed with high stakes gambling to the point of where it becomes this sort of almost autoerotic asphyxiation for them to gamble?
That is a very niche kind of drug, I will confess.
Yeah, it's a designer.
What, did you have it some guy you had a giant trench coat and just goes, "Hey, right, light, got yourself this kakiguri."
Yes.
It's right up your alley.
Definitely a bespoke thing engineered.
Well, that's how the pitch happened to Netflix. He just came in and did that in the boardroom.
Is my video freezing up for you, by the way?
It is, yes. But I think it can't be helped at this point. I don't know if it's Discord or my internet. It could be a variety of things. If people can hear me okay and they're looking I'm doing stop motion, I'm entirely all right with that as well.
Okay.
It's all part of the art.
That's right. This is it's a new thing we're trying. It's intentional.
Man. Yeah.
It's part of the brand. Okay.
Yeah. I also must confess, because, it's cats are kind of out of the bag at the moment, but I am working my way through Shield Hero.
Oh no!
Because I hate myself and my time.
Why are you
utterly fucking worthless? Because I want to talk about it on a podcast for your amusement, as in the audience. And man, I'm not going to tell you anything much about it here because I, of course, do want to talk about it later on a proper structured podcast that I'll be recording solo for it. But I will just say this, right? First off, all of the morally reprehensible stuff you might have heard about it is indeed true. Despite the fact that the show goes to almost obnoxious lengths to make excuses for itself and why characters behave the way they do. Which is kind of telling. But the thing that makes me laugh the most is that its version of the apocalypse is so shit and so underwhelming. I legitimately thought as I was watching it that it was deliberate in order to, be a trick. It turns out the villains are not the, all-encompassing natural force that will swallow the world whole, but it's really the society. No, that's not the case at all. Which is a shame, because that could have been something they could have done, but never mind. Yeah, I have many, 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 many things to say about that show. If you want to know what it's going to end up sounding like when I start talking about it, just go back and watch any of our later Franks episodes, because that's the batting average that Shield Hero is currently hitting at for me.
It sounds very unpleasant. Very unpleasant.
It's holistically bad. It's bad in so many different ways. It's actually kind of astounding how many different ways one person can fuck up their own show. Mm-hmm. Ostensibly because they're trying to defend its content while doing so. But anyway, well, that's a discussion for a later point. But yeah, it sucks balls, and I will not be, intimidated into saying otherwise.
Don't let the nerd hordes scare you. Just say your truth. Say your truth. Look, whenever you had said earlier, you've been... This is an idea that you've had in the hopper for a while, and every time that you would say, I'm thinking of watching Shield Hero for content, and I would say...
Because I'm an idiot.
Look, I'm not going to stop you, but nor am I going to tell you that this is a thing you should do.
Yeah.
I mean, once you fleshed out the script and everything, and I was like, okay, I think you should do it because you put a lot of thought into it, and it will be really interesting, but just... just knowing that you had to watch this show for it, and I was like, man, I don't know if I wish any of my friends to do that.
Well, here's the way of describing it, Doc, because the final thing we'll say on it before we move on to the shows we want to talk about. You remember what Jackass was, right?
Indeed.
So basically, this is my version of Jackass. Hi, I'm Shade now, about to watch Shield Hero. And I just end up running straight into a wall or something. That's the kind of idiocy that this is. That, you'd have to watch this show, to discuss it later in the same way that you would by riding a shopping trolley down a hill and expecting not to get injured. God help me. God fucking help me. Anyway, so we're not going to talk about that turgid piece of crap today. We're instead going to talk about some other shows. Specifically, we're going to talk about Fruit Basket. Mm-hmm. We will be talking about Demon Slayer. We'll talk about One Punch Man Season 2. Which one of those do you want to start on first, Doc?
Well, I think let's go with Fruits Basket. Let's talk some Furuba.
Fruba. It's not Fuba, it's Fruba. Fruba. I mean, here's the thing about Fruits Basket for me, right? There are, benefits to being on Twitter, would you believe? I know it's a hard sell. I know it's difficult for me to say that with a straight face, that it's a good thing, good thing to be on Twitter or any social media. But one of the nice things is that I can absorb, opinions and perspectives on work through osmosis just as it gets delivered to me. And this is how I've kind of learned a little bit, but not too much about Fruits Basket, and also, as it turns out, Saranzabai as well. Because I had no idea what Fruits Basket was prior to it suddenly getting this, remake, because apparently it was previously an anime series back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I don't remember exactly when. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is also the problem with getting things via osmosis through social media, in that you only get half the story. But what I did definitely get loud and clear was the fact that people were very fond of it. It felt very formative to them when they were younger. For its content, it's very well regarded as a rom-com show. And, I thought to myself, okay, I'm an old, miserable, awkward curmudgeon, with no hair, and possibly a burgeoning, alcohol problem. But why don't I give this show a try? Let's see what people are, talking about. Let's see if it lives up to the hype. And that's not really kind of fair because, I'm going into this at my age now, whereas people who were talking about it being very fond of it, they read it or watched it when they were much younger. It's been around for quite a while. So colour me happy, very happy indeed, to say that I am genuinely quite pleasantly surprised by it and how charming it is and how likeable it is, while also still having a good bit of serious nature to it as well. It simultaneously doesn't take itself seriously, but it does at times, deal in serious subject matter, serious feelings, emotions, or even situations, and it never feels jarring. I thought, I can see why people like this. I can see why people get behind this.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add that?
Oh, no. No, absolutely. I'm sorry. I didn't know that you were done. Yeah, no, listen. But of course, you kind of can't exist, I don't think, in anime fandom in the early 2000s or mid-2000s without hearing about Fruits Basket. It was, as you said, a seminal romantic comedy, seminal anime period for a lot of people. And it was the kind of thing that, I don't know, just about anybody could enjoy. But I missed it because, well, why did I miss out on that? Because I was a stupid boy that was like, I want to see the fight hands and the blood and the sexy and the computers and the sunglasses and trench coats and all of this.
Were you a serial maker of AMVs back then, Doc? I know that you were. I see it in your eyes.
I did make some AMVs.
I fucking knew it.
I did make some AMVs.
How edgy were they?
Shouts to what's that?
How edgy were they?
Probably pretty fucking edgy.
Ooh.
I haven't seen them in so long because they're lost on a CDR. Like I've had this conversation with Danny from Anime is Lit. Like he is a really big AMV fan and a fan of like kind of the history of them, and like because I was actually really kind of involved in the scene despite making only about like half a dozen videos. Like I talked to a lot of prominent creators and stuff like, or I thought they were prominent on message boards and stuff. It was really fun. Shouts to my former friend Neo Gohan, who who spent the combining of the Matrix and Dragon Ball, who spent fucking, gosh, we left our 56k modems on all night so he could send me Adobe Premiere over AOL Instant Messenger.
Oh wow, that's dedication.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Okay, but this is I'm getting so off track. Or did you talk about
future bonus content for Warrior Deshou, folks?
Yeah.
Get back into. I'm going to get back into making AMVs, and we're going to have some crackers come out.
Jesus. But anyway, yeah, I was not looking for a rom-com when I was a teenage fan or early 20s fan. And it was the kind of thing, like, I started to come back to this show. Like, I tried to watch it, sometime in the, like, later part of the 2000s after I was married, and I was like, this could be a thing. Back before my wife had watched a bunch of anime with me. By the way, we finally finished Mob Psycho season 2 last night.
Ooh.
Like she's been so busy with art stuff that we haven't had time to watch the last 2 episodes. But
man,
it was so worth waiting for. God damn it.
What a damn good season, like. Tangential sideways into a brief review of Mob Psycho 200 because we can't not talk about it now that you brought it up. Like, I remember you and me discussing this off cast. I don't think we ever discussed season 1 on Warui Deshou at any point in the past. We won't, by the way, Manera. I've just spoiled that there. I'll keep this spoiler free because honestly, if you haven't seen it, you do definitely deserve to see it without.
Yes.
Like, I had a very serious misgiving with season 1. I remember discussing this with you, which is that I really could not get behind Reagan as a character because he was still ultimately, manipulating and using Mob for his own ends, even if they were just simply, using him as a business venture, shall we say, I found that really problematic. Overall, I still really liked the show, but that's just like the barrier to entry I couldn't scale over. I couldn't get past it. And here's the thing, right? Bear this in mind for what I told you all before about Shield Hero, because this is going to be a point I'll be bringing back when I get eventually to that, fucking dissertation of shit that I'm going to be dealing with. But it's also true for fiction in general. Characters can do shitty things. That's fine. It's a question of, what you ultimately do with that in terms of the story. Characters often kill other characters, often in fiction. There's all sorts of reprehensible shit going on. But there's always often a reason or an examination why they're doing it. Mm-hmm. So in Reagan's case, like him doing that with Mob, like I was so pleasantly surprised to see in season 2 an arc that examined that. I won't say any more about it than that, but they actually took a look back and said, right, this thing that might be a little questionable, let's do something with it. Let's not just leave it hanging in the air. So many times when I've discussed bad shows in this, like Cardo, for example, which came back into my mind recently. You remember them? You remember that unmitigated clusterfuck, that trade derailment that took it 12 weeks to unfold?
Oh, it could have been so fucking good.
That's my point, though. That's my point. Shows can have stupid things happen, or bad things, or reprehensible things happen, but they provide opportunities for good storytelling. And that's what Mob Psycho 200 did. It took that thing in season 1 and it actually did something with it. It said, yeah, you know what? We're going to take a critical eye on this. We're going to turn our lens inwards. And that was just one arc of it. The rest of it, which again I'll say nothing more of for the sake of the audience, was just phenomenal. So many wonderful little arcs in it. Moments of, genuine empathy, great action, great animation. It was like they just simply took what made the first season good and made it better. And that's such a high watermark to pass anyway.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I will just jump in here really quickly and say that at the end of 2016, it was 2017 that Mob aired, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. whenever that first season was. I remember
Yeah.
the anime that were part of it. I can't remember what year. It was either 16 or 17. I believe it was 16. But that year I was putting together a big formal list for Wave Motion Canon of my anime of the year that year. You can go, thank you, Felix, 2016. You can go look at it. It's still up at wavemotioncanon.com. And I ranked Mob Psycho 100 Season 1, number 4 in my top 10. And looking back, these 3 years later, it's too low. It's too low because, I mean, and I still have a lot of love for stuff like ReZero and Erased, but I've gone back and I've rewatched Mob Psycho 100 Season 1, like, I don't know, 3-4 times since then. I haven't gone back and watched the other ones at all. Some of those times were to show it to other people. Some of it was just because I wanted to see it again. Because, I mean, it really is, like you were saying, it's just a tour de force. And it might be my number 1 in retrospect from that year. Maybe number 2. It's damn good, and it's only aged better and better in my mind. And as I rewatch it, I loved the first season. And the second season, like, had everything that the first had, I think, in terms of the animation, the experimentation, the presentation that you come to know and love, but also the writing, as you say, like, they weren't afraid to take chances. One really just didn't shy away from examining, like you said, the things that he had set up. And there's a lot of moving shit. There's a lot of really moving, emotional, at times harrowing, at times like deeply poignant. Man, like it's just so fucking good. I love the messages, the theme. I love everything about that show. Season 2 ruled. My wife loved it. Like, yeah, do yourself a favor and watch this if you have, whether you like shonen action or not. Like, I mean, it's more of a coming of age story than anything. Like, shonen is such a broad term, like, and one of the things I like about it is, like, it's so, when you think of like shonen in terms of like battle shonen, you think of like long drawn out fights and stuff like that, and like the arcs and the fights and the confrontations like are so crisp, and they happen like so much more quickly. They don't really drag, and they're still satisfying.
Yeah, there's a lot of creativity. Like, if there's one thing I could say about one, and bear in mind a lot of what we discussed here for the One Punch Man Season 2 talk we're going to do later. It's funny how things work out, isn't it? That we get to, link things together like this out of nowhere. But, like, say what you will, his creativity is pretty unbridled, and it's fantastic to see him, exercising. And it's what will keep me optimistic for One Punch Man Season 2, despite some issues, shall we say.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Well, we're talking about this. Do you want to talk about this, or do you want to go back to Fruits Basket since we started down that road?
Let's go back.
Okay. Fruits Basket.
So
my point was, I started to watch the 2001 original at some point, but like the characterization of the older brother was a lot more like overtly leery kind of pervert. And at the time, like, now I can see me watching it and just going, that's fucking guy. At the time I was like, I don't want this right now in my life, and so I put it away. And tangentially, another reason I'm glad that they're remaking this, Shadon, despite like the aesthetic like upgrades and everything, and showing it to a new audience, maybe like, are you aware of the sexual harassment allegations leveled at Akitaro Daiichi?
I'm gonna have to go one better than that and say I don't even know who Akitaro. So educate me, please, dear Doctor.
Okay, so obviously the like director of the Fruits Basket TV series, as
Are
well.
you talking about this one, the most
No,
recent?
the 2001, the original.
Oh, good. I was going to say,
directed-
like, I didn't want another MMO junkie where it turns out the director's
No.
a fucking neo-Nazi or some shit like that. Or it turns out, he's into autoerotic asphyxiation or some shit. Can we just give that a miss? We just normal.
He's like,
That's all I want.
he directed a lot of comedy anime over the years that fans over here really enjoyed, like Fruits Basket, like Animation Runner Kuromi, Elf Princess Rain in the mid-90s, Jubei-chan, the Ninja Girl, I thought was really funny, both seasons of that. The fucking Hokuto no Ken chibi version where they all have like real jobs, and like Rao is like a construction foreman.
What?
Yeah, it's called DD Hokuto no Ken. He directed that, so he's been involved with a lot of fun stuff. But like, go ahead.
Like, okay.
Okay, sidebar.
Okay.
Okay.
So, like, this is not anime related, but I just remember, like, way back after the Batman animated series concluded, which was great. Like, Warner Brothers executives pitched Bruce Timm and his team, right, we want Batman in high school. And that if ever you needed evidence that people don't know what the fuck they're talking about, that's it. And I didn't think I'd hear something quite so utterly fucking bamboozling as that. But no, here we are. This is the Red Letter Day here on Warui Deshou, where it turns out there's a chibi version of Hokuto no Ken, which just... I can't process this shit. And I couldn't process this if I had, like, 10 years less on my fucking timer. What the fuck? Never mind. I'm just going to skip it.
Okay.
Let us continue. We're walking.
So Mira points out Daiichi directed a lot of crappy anime. He did. But I think, to be fair, he directed a lot of stuff that was well received. But a couple months ago, voice actress and singer Hiroko Konishi came out and, like, I think had like a really, like, an expose, like a really big piece, or like a bunch of long quotes about how the anime industry was so, like, rife and corrupt with misogyny and, like, the things that...
Well, that doesn't sound familiar at all, does it?
No,
I've never
not
heard
at all.
of this before. No.
No, not familiar. Me Too is not familiar with what
Jesus
you're saying.
Christ.
Like,
At the rate we're going, the only safe place to actually work on anime for a woman is going to be in a fucking Franciscan monastery.
I know.
Gee.
But that they want the girls to do all kinds of stuff with them to get ahead. And specifically, the Wikipedia page that refers to the article references that Daiichi wanted her to take a bath with him. And I think that's probably all that needs to be said. That's a pretty indicative example of what we're talking about. And it, that can sour you on a fucking artist's art. And I think anyone
Really
that
is
feels that
MMO
way,
junkie territory,
Yeah.
though, isn't it?
it
Yeah.
kind of is.
God damn it. Like I say, can't people just be fucking normal? Can't we have, like, a sudden shock article come out on ANN or something about an anime director whose biggest vice is that he, likes pineapple on pizza or some shit like that? I'm not asking for much. I'm not asking for much here. God's sake. Ugh.
I don't know anything about the mangaka. At least they have the manga. If they want to savor something from, those days. But it looks like the manga... oh no. Okay, I see. There's two manga. There's Fruits Basket Another that I was actually looking at that was made after the TV show. Yeah, but they have the manga if they want to relive that stuff. But anyway, this is all a roundabout preface for me saying I haven't seen the original Fruits Basket, but I know the premise. I was aware of the deal, but I really, really like this new one.
I'm genuinely impressed by it.
Aesthetically, like, Yuki nods. Like, what do you mean pineapple on pizza is a controversy?
You get free pass because you drew as this Kappa.
Yeah, you could do no wrong.
Yeah, you've got your jail free card, lad. You're okay for the time being.
I think, like, the first thing that jumped out at me was the aesthetic update. I like it so much more. I think it looks so much better than the 2001 anime.
Yeah, I've seen side by sides, and I have to say that Toru in the 2001, yikes.
Yeah.
But then again, that's the dark age of anime where we somehow try
oh boy,
the unpleasant how do we say it, growing up period. I don't even know what I don't even necessarily call it growing up. I just call it we'll call it the Metallica Say anger period. Okay. It still technically functions as an album, but it's really just a collection of clanging noises like dropping a load of cutlery down the stairs. So it's still. It sounds like an album, or it looks like an anime. It just, its construction is dubious.
Yeah. Oh man. Thank Grizzly. The dark ages of fucking Digipaint. Yep. When all the anime was made in Digipaint, that was the tool used to do this new great CG revolution that's going to take hold of an anime, and God, everything looks so much worse than the previous 2 decades for so long.
Man,
Jesus,
I'm glad I missed that.
Yeah,
I missed that. Yeah.
Well, no, you saw Elfen Lied. You didn't miss it.
I didn't see it at the time, though. To be fair. God, knowing how much of an ignorant muppet I was back when I was, at the age that Elfen Lied came out, I probably would have liked it. Oh, that makes me feel sick thinking about it. I want to slap my younger self.
Jesus.
Reach back in time, clip round the ear roll.
Man, I'm glad I didn't see it at the time either. I probably would have been like, this is so, cool and deep and violent, bro.
It's got the gore, but it's got the guts to say
right. There's,
deep
crying and
things.
Shit. Yes.
She's a misunderstood monster like me.
They quote
I
some...
get it.
Like me. They quote some philosophers and shit.
Anyway.
But apart from the aesthetic upgrade, which again I think is beautiful, not just the design work, but the animation itself, I think looks really lovely and fluid, and it's just really pleasant to see. I love the story because I haven't seen it before, so the story's really great. They kept the spirit in some ways, I think, of a lot of the old, that late 90s, early 2000s era of comedy. Which can be really annoying if applied in the wrong ways.
Yes.
Love Hina, cough, cough. But,
Jesus.
Someone getting horribly injured and then cutting to the next frame and it's fine because it was for comedy's sake. That they got punched through the room. It's all really fun. When the silver-haired boy, when the rat beats up the cat and things like that. It makes me laugh. It's not... it hasn't got on my nerves.
It doesn't go overboard. I was really worried going into this, there'd be a lot of screeching and just gigantic booming heads over tiny people. And I just can't stand that shit, to be honest. It's just not me. But, the fact that Toru, as has been mentioned in chat, lives in a tent.
I know!
This is the microcosm, the example of why Fruits Basket works, because it makes both comedy and drama out of this without having them clash against each other.
It's a great point.
Because if you think of it this way, right, a kid of her age living in a tent in the woods, because her mother has died and there's nowhere that she feels comfortable staying, and because she wants to, live an independent adult life. It's not like even the government's taking her into care or anything like that. That's tragic. That is genuinely tragic.
Yeah.
And yet it still gets laughs out of you, I've got used to the slugs. I'm cool with it. I'm fine. I can handle it. Check me out. I mean, that is so perfectly handled. When the tent gets buried in the landslide that happens, it's good fun. It's good comedy. But it's also not at the expense of the character, and it's not at the expense of the actual genuine drama. like, when we've got the cat boy whose name eludes me fighting with, I was going to say Nezumi then, but that's not actually his name. It's just, no. Man, I'm going to start turning into a real weeb at this point.
Nezumi versus Neko.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when they start sparring, it's genuinely entertaining. You get to see their personalities come through from, them as, the animals in the Chinese zodiac. But then he has a genuine heart-to-heart with his elder brother later, where he starts discussing, like, you don't have like anyone close, like what happens when you finally meet that girl who might, actually like you for who you are. And he says honestly, and this kind of really touched because I felt the same so much throughout my life, where he says, you know what? I'd think, what the fuck is she thinking? And I'm like, I get you, bro. I like this. I like this honesty and this sincerity for characters who, lest I forget, or lest you forget, are, members of the Chinese Zodiac. They're mythological beings. That's the kind of, like, mythological use in fiction that I like, where, yeah, they are possessed of, crazy powers and all that. But they're very human, and they're very relatable.
Yeah, like when... So I'm really affected by, like, scenes like the one where you have is his name Yuki, the silver-haired boy?
I think he might be
the prince. When the prince,
the prince,
the rat, is thinking back on when they had to erase his little friend's memory. And, like, he's talking to the head of the family, and the head of the family is saying, man, we have to do this because people are going to, like, if they know about you, they'll be disgusted by you. They won't want to be near you. Mm-hmm. So this is for your protection that we have to do this because, the implication is you're kind of a freak. And if people knew who you really were, like knew about your deepest self, they will be pushed away and turned away. Like, to have like a child internalizing that is deeply sad, and those things really hit me hard when I see it. Like Mob Psycho again. I'll always remember that scene in season 3 when...
Season 3 of Mob Psycho?
Season 3. Episode 3 of season 1.
Have you seen into the future?
Exactly.
Have you seen into the future?
I always remember the future. So Plato said, knowledge is just remembering what you've already forgotten. So,
oh man, we're not even supposed to spoil season 2, so definitely don't spoil season 3 if it's not out yet, Doc. I'm just saying. Just saying.
I will not. But episode 3, when Mob has a flashback to the playground and is thinking about showing Tsubomi his psychic powers, and she says, "Get a clue." And that becomes like a tape he plays himself over and over again when his self-confidence is down, when he's feeling blue, when he wants to like show himself and be himself, but like is stifled. Get a clue, Mob. And like, I think he probably subconsciously internalized that. And for the prince in Fruits Basket, I don't think it's a subconscious thing. But it still is like this scar he carries with him from his childhood. But we already have signs of like that, of a counter narrative being introduced, right? As you talked about a lot when we talked about Persona 4, of Honda showing him like, I like you for you, like, who you really are does not repel me, and I'm just like a sucker for that shit, man. I ate it up.
I mean, what must it be like to live a life where you can't have that kind of intimate contact with people? It's not even a question like of an intimate person. Like, you've got a friend of yours, you want to give him a hug after a football game or something like that. Can't do that.
It's like
what's the walls?
Yeah, and I was thinking it's like an inversion of Rogue from X-Men.
Yeah.
She will, of course, kill you if she touches you, but and so you can't be intimate with her or you will die. In this case, you can't be intimate with these boys because then they'll become something that they'll be the ones affected rather than you.
Yeah, exactly. It is something I just add as well. Like, I'm merely possibly speaking out of turn here, but would it be reasonable for me to say that this material is probably aimed more at, shall we say, younger women?
Oh,
so
yes.
You've got the cast of boys and all that.
Yeah, this is a shoujo work for sure.
For shoujo work, okay. I have to say, like, it's well-rounded because it actually, like, all this stuff we talk about with the boys, though, like, it's not for the sake of making them simply appealing for the audience. They they have genuine trifles together. Like Kyo, for example, I remember his name now. So I will say this, right? For someone who's like old and jaded like me, and also not of the right sex, as it was intended for the audience, I still like this work coming in as I have done at this particular point. I think that speaks volumes. Like that, it can still appeal just by having genuine heart to it.
Yeah,
and also solid humor as well. I mean, we've got Knife Lady who will kill you if you so much as look at Toru the wrong way.
This is another example of what I feel like is like the throwback anime comedy. the Knife Lady. She rules. I love her so much. The best friends are like, man, I haven't loved a group of like best buddies since Orange, like high school best buddies like this. I want them to have as much screen time as possible. As much as I love the Soma boys, like the two best friends are fantastic and
eagerly anticipating the moment that they get invited over. I mean, I'm looking forward to the potential of that episode where they end up there and like just giving each other the fucking eyes and shit. Like, it's gonna be good stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, and like I do feel, that, like you said, that synthesis of comedy and drama, like it works so well because you get disarmed by it, and the punches hit harder because you've let your guard down. So, yeah, I wish I could say, like, say, like, oh, here's how it is compared to the original or whatever, but I haven't seen it. But I think maybe that's a good endorsement that like we have no nostalgia for the material and we think it's fantastic.
I agree. So yeah, definitely check that one out if you've already done so, especially if even if you haven't seen, or don't have much familiarity with the material as I didn't, or if you do it anyway. It's definitely worth your time. So, Fruits Basket, we're done with that. Let's now talk about...
Who is Kyo, by the way? Which one is Kyo? I'm sorry.
That'd be the cat.
Okay, so yeah, Munira asked how the performance is, Uchida. That's Ash, isn't it? Yuma Uchida?
I believe it might be.
Man, what a different role. I think he's great. I think he's genuinely great.
Wait. You're telling me that Yuma Uchida is playing a character who's often described in cat-like terms, who is often very belligerent and shouting.
Stop it.
I'm sensing a lot of similarity. It's like he's, made for these roles. Who'd have fucking thought?
Oh my god.
I mean, didn't he also play Hayate on Macross Delta? And did he not also dress up as a cat person at some point?
Oh my god.
It all fits.
It's connected.
It all fits.
Yeah. Yeah, but he does the really good like I'm blushing, scratching the back of my head, kind of kicking my feet around voice. Like I'm sort of half apologizing for something I did that was stupid. Like when he's kind of in that, he's really good as Kyo here. So yes, very good. Yeah.
To answer your question, Yuki, no, not seeing Carol on Tuesday yet.
No.
I'll try and slot in if I can pick it up somewhere between watching the good shows and the one that we will not talk about right. What we will talk about right now, though, there's your tangent, there's your segue.
That's good. It's pro.
Because I'm good at this shit. Is Demon Slayer. So, it's good to see UFO Table doing something that's not fate related for once. But I do feel bad for them given what they're currently going through right now. And when I say that, I mean I feel bad principally for the animators and the people doing the actual work as opposed to, the suits. Because in case you weren't aware, UFO Table are currently looking to be owing about 40 million yen in unpaid taxes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And apparently, on top of that, they also misappropriated funds given to them following the 2011 earthquake disaster in Japan. I can't remember the specific name of it. You all know which one it is, though.
Yeah.
Fate dodged taxes. You know, the jokes write themselves here. Man. I mean, who'd have fucking thought the Wolf of Wall Street was a heroic spirit? But hey, you know, Jesus. I mean, but here's the thing, right? Like, if you want my opinion on Fate in general, like at least as far as the animated shows that I've seen, which don't include the Dean one because that's like before my time, I like them a lot. Surprisingly enough, I think there's a lot of meat to this story, despite the obvious trappings and pitfalls it has. Of here's a random, you know, personality formless, you know, gormless shithead, and all the women want him and talk to him and like him for ostensibly no good reason because he's got the endearing qualities of wallpaper paste. But funnily enough, that's actually the point a lot of the time in Fate. I especially appreciate how in Fate in general, like Shiro's morality, which is usually purely lawful good, gets completely crapped on in favour of, you know, a little bit of pragmatism. He goes through the Emma thing from Promised Neverland in a little way. But one of the other reasons that I like Fate quite a lot, despite its obvious shortcomings, is the fact that UFO Table are the studio doing it, because all the times they've animated that stuff, it's been absolutely incredible. Some minor goofs here and there, like, of course, in the closing episode of Unlimited Blade Works, where Rin suddenly turns into Mr. Tickle and manages to extend herself across the entire length of a table because they didn't stage it properly. Like, she's literally 1 inch away from Shiro's face, points again, but the table is literally this long. So how did that happen? Did she just go gadget arms and poke him? Bit weird, but
he used a seal to make that odd stretch.
But yeah, they do a really good job of animation. Like, they handle fight scenes really, really well, even if they do use admittedly a little too much stock noise for my taste. Like, I remember watching, I think, the Lancer versus Archer fight from the start of Unlimited Blade Works, and there was a clanking noise, and I was like, where have I heard that before? It's from Half-Life 2, when you start throwing barrels around the front of them. It's the exact same stock noise.
Awesome.
I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, guys, did you spend all the money on the budget? Did you just blow it all? Just like, ugh, Jesus.
Rent the soundboard quick.
Freesound.org.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, they do a really good job of animation and fight scenes, and that's what's making me really excited for this show as it starts to get into high gear. I mean, when I saw the OP that premiered at the end of episode 1, I was like, right, I'm in. You fucking sold me. You've got a dude with a beautifully animated water katana cutting shit up. I'll watch the show for that, even if they don't say anything. It looks great. But it's not just about looking good, though, this show, I should stress. It does have the greatest, you know, how should we say, back-of-the-net football goal ever. We'll have to get to that in a moment, so we need to establish some context first, but it is, like, I mean, Fruits Basket was funny, but this was so concentrated funny, and I'm not entirely sure if they intended it to be funny or not, but I laughed my ass off. I had to pause the episode when it happened. So, Demon Slayer, what's Demon Slayer about?
Wait.
Go on.
Shadon will tell you what Demon Slayer is all about after the break. We're back. Thank you for
Hey.
your patience. Now,
man.
Demon Slayer.
Before we do that, actually, I think this now is a good time to talk about some breaking news that I've spotted on Twitter.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear. Let's see. One second, I need to find the tweet. But
Is America at war with Iran yet?
No. You sounded disappointed, but anyway.
No, I'm disappointed at the situation. I don't want there to be a war, just to be clear.
So, I don't know if any of you know the name of Kazuhiko Kato, and I again apologize if I'm mispronouncing that name. He goes by the name Monkey Punch, the creator of Lupin. He sadly passed away on April the 11th.
No.
At the age of 81.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Wow. That sucks, man. That really sucks. That's sad.
Seen that confirmed in a couple of articles here. Yeah, he suffered from pneumonia, apparently.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, like, I don't know if, a lot of the people who currently listen to us these days may not potentially be aware of our earlier work, but we did do a podcast on Lupin the Third, the Woman Named Fujiko Mine, which I thought was magnificent. I thought it was brilliant.
Oh, yes.
And while it wasn't quite as prevalent in that particular iteration of Lupin as it is elsewhere, one of the things I always liked about the character was this kind of anarchic energy that almost felt like, God, how would best describe it? Like it was from the 50s or 60s. Like it had that almost Tom and Jerry-esque little bit of slapstick to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that infamous, gif going around of Fujiko Mine from one of the earlier shows escaping being locked up on a plane. And it's just complete anarchy. But it's great. Yeah. And, man, like, for what essentially is just a very basic concept of here's a thief and he goes around stealing stuff with his, kooky gunslinger and, samurai friend. With the
samurai friend. That's right.
Yes, exactly. And with the occasional assistance of, Fujiko. There's something like that, which is just really dirt simple. It's just basic, anti-hero goes around nicking stuff with the cop behind him all the way, who's constantly unable to catch our hero. Like, it was such a fucking good show and such a great execution of the concept. I didn't regrettably see the most recent Lupin, which came out, I think it was last year, the one which actually had him dealing with fucking cryptocurrency of all.
Yes, the internet.
Yeah, which the internet is clearly ill-prepared for Lupin. I mean, for all the spam you want, he'll handle it. He'll sort it. But, yeah, rest in peace, Kazuhiko Kato.
Yeah, for sure. He made a thing that I don't know how much he's been involved with the anime side of it, if at all, especially in recent years. But damn, like that thing he made has been a vehicle for all kinds of really fantastic television and movies. And yeah, since that's his baby, yeah, he'll be missed. This is a sad loss, but we're losing so many greats in the anime game in the last few years. Yeah, that's a shame. How do we segue back to Demon Slayer? Lupin began as a manga. We're going to talk about something that began as a manga right now.
Okay, I don't know anything about the manga admittedly, so I'm going to have to skip that. But we still had the tangent. We made it work. So, here's the thing, right? Like, there's a lot of fantasy stories, or even just science fiction, or stories in general, that have an opening something a little bit like this. There's a family, and the family can be two parents and the kid, or it can be many kids. The kid is fairly bright, he's got a happy life ahead of him, he's doing something simple, he's a hard worker, maybe he works on a farm. Something, simple, roughshod, salt of the earth.
A moisture farm.
And that kid then, one day, for a complete coincidence, is not home. And some horrific tragedy befalls his family and wipes them out. Some evil, malign force has arisen that has taken away their family from them. and now threatens the land. And then steps in the wizened old mentor who's like, come with me. Not if you want to live, because that's a different thing. But come with me, and I'll help you make things right. How many stories can you think of that might have, had that formula? I mean, we've already mentioned one of them, Star Wars. And so, here's me with 30 plus years of watching television and consuming various fiction behind me, and I'm watching the opening half of the first episode of Demon Slayer, and I'm like, they're so fucks.
Right.
They're so fucked. They're so fucked. Every single one of them is fucking dead. I'm just like, God damn it. And if you wanted to criticize it, for being that kind of cliched opening, I'd argue you might want to. You have half right. But it depends again, like what you do with it. Cliches themselves aren't inherently bad. It's just if you then decide not to do anything with it. And so, yes, indeed. Tanjiro, our lead hero's name, he comes back after selling charcoal in town to find his family has been massacred by demons. Except one. His younger sister. I forgot. Nezuko, yes. I almost said Nezumi, but that was the rat boy. And it's not even the rat boy from Fruits Basket. It was the name I gave to my Persona 5 characters because I thought I'd be clever and try and look up the name of famous Japanese thieves. Then it turned out I got referenced in a fucking question later on, which was really, really weird and kind of fourth wall breaking. But anyway, tangents aside.
It just means rat.
Yeah, rat boy.
Yeah, right.
Rat boy. That's what I went with. So, Nezuko is alive, and Nezuko is turning into a demon. And we're not talking, Solid Snake, or not Solid Snake, sorry, Big Boss turning into a demon. We're talking like, full-blown fans, taste of human flesh, and, massively increased strength. And so, Tanjiro, he doesn't, of course, want to kill her. He's trying to fight her up, bring her back round.
Yeah.
And despite all his efforts, he's eventually overpowered. But then steps in, the mentor we talk, well, not the mentor specifically, but an outside force, a gentleman with a wonderfully named Demon Slayer blade, because I love that this little thing was just like patterned on here, like, what did he buy that at the store? Was it clearly labelled for his convenience?
Yes. The local novelty shop. Absolutely.
Yeah, he didn't want the Dragon Slaying one, or he didn't want, the one used for mopping carpets. He wanted, he wanted the one that killed fucking demons, and he got what he was after, so good on that. Good on that. So, I don't remember this gentleman's name, unfortunately. It's kind of slipped my mind already. Really should probably pay more attention.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Yeah.
I didn't remember the main character's name. Only Nezuko, because he shouts it about, a dozen times each episode. Yeah.
There's your drinking game for Demon Slayer, folks. You want to play it as you go along.
There you go, yeah.
Make sure it's a fairly weak spirit, because you'll probably do yourself serious harm otherwise. Anyway. Anyway. So this gentleman comes in and says, she's a demon, you gotta fucking kill her. And Tanjiro, after a long discussion, fights back. And he loses, because he, is only some random, woodcutting kid, as opposed to this guy who's armed with a fucking sword and clearly well-trained, but shows his own talent by managing to catch him off guard with a hatchet throw that he did before throwing himself in the line of fire. And that causes this gentleman to reconsider. Maybe there is something to this kid.
He's got spunk.
Yep, he's got spunk, yes. He's got some fucking spunk here. And when he wakes up, he finds that Nezuko has been gagged with this little, metal log thing that is also, I think, restraining her demonic side a little bit. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm sure that this will be explained.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll have to be something that's going to get explained on. And he's told, right, meet this gentleman, and we will give you the tools you need to fight, the demons and kill them off. And there's your episode done. So, why did I tell you all about that, very stereotypical fantasy opening of the family dies, and then the hero gets mentored into, seeking revenge or justice, whatever you call it. Because oftentimes it is the entire family that dies. And then it's just, them holding sort of holding back the protagonist from them progressing down this path otherwise, living a life of relative boredom and simplicity.
Right.
Well, that's not quite the case here because Nezuko still lives. And this, instead, is used to form the theme of the show so far, which I hope it does continue to develop, which is, beware ye who fight monsters, lest ye become one. Think about it. The demons in this show just murder en masse, devour, people alive. But the demon hunters that we meet, or have met so far, are cruel, and callous in their own way.
Yeah.
They don't believe, for example, that Nezuko can be saved, despite the fact that we do see very clear evidence that the human side of her is still there. And it makes you then think to yourself, is it gets to points where, having fought demons for so long, you don't have your own humanity left anymore. You just become a cold-blooded killing machine. And to be fair, that's not to say, this is, similar to the Promised Neverland for me. It's the kind of thing where you gotta meet in the middle. But it is very explicitly called out in the second episode that Tanjiro's kindness is, holding him back from doing what is necessary. He fights a demon who, in the second episode, who to me looks a hell of a lot like one of Dio's underlings from Phantom Blood. Seriously, if Zeppeli had been fighting that guy, it would have looked not even a shred out of place. It would have fit perfect.
Which one? In
episode 2.
The bad guy. Yes, yes.
He totally is a JoJo's Phantom Blood villain. I'm literally stunned he wasn't called something like Anthrax or something like that. But yeah, in fighting this dude, Tanjiro does win in the end by pinning him against the tree. The demons, by the way, disintegrated somewhat.
Which I didn't know before it happened. Thank God, that was a get out of jail free card for Tanjiro.
And as a result of him refusing to kill this demon by, smashing his head in with a rock, he disintegrates in sunlight, which arguably is more painful than just simply smashing his head in, but regardless. This dude, though, was a cold-blooded shithead. He was just, chomping on a couple of people in the temple. And, yeah, what we see in the same episode is Nezuko gets involved. She's not just a passive agent in all this, by the way. You might think that she's just going to be, a little more than a dog that he tags around with him to try and, deferral her. But in between, her drooling over, dead people in the temple as something to eat, Tanjiro is pinned outside by this demon. And in the most amazing, Liverpool 1, Manchester United 0 moment ever, I know you like that, out of nowhere, she runs up and kicks his head off.
It was incredible.
Into the forest.
Because you just don't see it coming, the way it's shot.
He sure as shit didn't.
No, I mean, he's just, he's bearing down on Tanjiro and I've already forgotten her name. Nezuko. I almost said Nezumi there too. You infected me with your rat boy poison.
All right.
Nezuko's just sort of standing there, kind of tears leaking out because fighting is happening again. So kind of her two inner natures are fighting each other internally, and the demon is going to pin down her brother, and she just into the shot, and she comes in so fast, but when the kick happens, there's stop on it, and it's so funny, man. The fact that after she kicks his head off, the fact that what happens later happens, I feel like is confirmation that yes, they understand that this is funny and they're trying to be darkly comic about all this.
It works one way or the other. I had a good chuckle at that, and I do feel like I have to go back and edit in some actual football commentary over it. Find, a recent, Premier League match, slot that commentary in over it. It'll be perfect. But this is the point where Mr. Karasi from King of Fighters turns. No.
The Tengu mask.
Same Tengu mask. By the way, there's... Yes, he is a colossal dick, to be fair, so that's not surprising. But, this also is, again, your evidence of, maybe they're not so different, you and I, theme going on here. Because he is obviously wearing the mask of Tengu, which are a form of demon in Japanese culture. At least I think they are, from what I remember.
They are.
Please don't come. Yeah. Please don't come kicking down my door if it says I'm willfully ignorant.
They're one of the most well-known yokai. In top 3. I'd feel like top 3 are Tengu, Kitsune, and Kappa.
We just need a No, there is actually a Kitsune show. Shit, we've got the fucking triple triad here.
Yeah.
Although that one apparently is not great, so fuck that. But anyway, so he turns up and says, right, okay, I don't know if I'm ready to train this kid. Not because there's too much anger in him, as it turns out, but quite the opposite, too much kindness. Because he wasn't willing to mercy kill this demon fucker at the temple. And so he sets him a test. Go up down this mountain and come back to me before night. And it's completely full of traps. And Tanjiro initially is, he's struggling with this. He can't breathe because the air's too thin.
Right.
But he manages to focus himself and actually overcome the test. Barely. He is battered and bruised and bloodied. And what I really appreciate about this whole thing is that during this time, Mr. Karate, again, I forget his name, so I'm going to have to fill in with, the fake name here, he does look after Nezuko. He gets her to shelter, get out of the sunlight, and puts her to bed. Doesn't kill her, if he doesn't do anything untoward to her, he does look after her. And I think that's going to be a running thing throughout the show going forward from what little I've seen so far of it, which is, what lines do we cross in fighting evil? Do we let our humanity go? Do we forget about that basic element of us that we can care for each other? Can Nezuko actually be saved? In the event that she does go fully demon, will Tanjiro then make the right choice?
Yeah.
Whatever that may be. What about the people he studies with and trains with? Because we've already met two people who, made decisions against their better nature as demon hunters to preserve Nezuko's life. So there's ambiguity being introduced here in what otherwise is fairly black and white, which is demons bad, we good, we kill demons, that's that. And that in itself could make for a fun show if it's just a gory action run. But there's more to it with Demon Slayer in this case, which I do appreciate. I'm just waiting, of course, for UFO to be able to cut loose with their action animation and show us some fucking nice effects. I especially appreciate, by the way, they don't look fakey CG these either. They actually look genuinely quite good.
Yeah, there's not... I haven't noticed a lot of, CG poking through the cracks. Or any obvious, but then again, that's not my strong suit. Only when it's really egregious in things like Neverland or you just talked about it, the sci-fi one, the right answer, Kato.
Oh boy!
So no, I didn't notice it here. Damn, I have a lot to say about this show. It's a little disjointed. So first of all, I really want to cosplay as Tanjiro. Because that fucking,
giant head wound and all.
Well, the seafoam green and black, checked robe is fucking dope. The most styling dude of whenever this era was. I actually don't know what the setting is, but it's that, I guess, Sekiro-ish setting of, samurai.
I missed the chance to make that joke, actually. This was Sekiro anime, but never mind.
That's okay. We gotta not go for that low hanging of a fruit. I mean, come on. You have standards. I have standards. We've talked about this.
I don't. I protest. Verily, I do protest.
So this show, there's a very specific feel that after the first episode, I was like, man, this is really going for this. Samurai fighting yokai in the snow in the midst of dead trees in the woods, I feel is a very kind of specific aesthetic that, I mean, this was just so evocative. I loved all of that imagery. It was just fantastic. But then it added to it. Those kinds of things tend to be a little bit on the brutal side. And this, I sort of thought okay, this is going to be kind of an uncompromising show in that way. Because you see, the bloodied family torn apart, and it looks awful. And it's oh Jesus, this is going to be really rough. But the reason why I think the end of the first episode didn't feel as cliche to me is because it was this samurai, this ninja, this demon fighting thing, which again is just so violent and brutal, for the main character to then take a turn towards radical empathy, right? In a sort of mob-esque way. Gonna relate everything to mob since I just finished it.
Yeah.
But Tanjiro saying I know that you have your rules and the system that you follow, but like, here's this person that nobody is going to have any empathy for, but like I do, and I won't let violence be done to her, regardless of what you think she is, what role she occupies in your kind of worldview. Like,
yeah,
it's so fucking good. It's so good, and they, like you said, all the elder Demon Slayer people are just like, it's only going to be a matter of time. It's only going to be a matter of time, but so far so good. Tanjiro is the handiest motherfucker, also, because he like makes a papoose out of shit that's just lying around somehow to carry Nezuko around. Also, did you mention that when the demon's head was kicked off, it grew its own limbs back to walk around?
It grew a pair of arms.
Like, it really is Dio from JoJo's Phantom Blood.
Yeah.
Like, man, and
you keep my head off, you fuck!
And, you know, I'm curious. So, at the end of episode 2, like you said, Tanjiro is faced with this dilemma, and his would-be master, at the end of the episode, he says, like, I'll be your master, so it's his master, but at this point in time, not yet. You know, he says, you're too indecisive, you won't make a decision, you won't take action, that's going to kill you, because he can't bring himself to murder the demon, you know, because, and it's consistent with his values, in a way, right? Like, I mean, Nezuko hasn't killed anyone, so I guess you could say there's a difference there, but, like, he just sees he can only concentrate on the suffering it's going to cause this demon to hit him with a rock over and over until he dies. Can't just stab him, he has to crush him. But he was lucky that the sun came up, but like you say, there's going to be this situation that occurs later where, hopefully it occurs later, that he's not going to have like the trapdoor escape, that there's going to have to be there's going to be a cost to either sticking with his beliefs or not. And I'm curious to see how that will go, like what that cost will be, how that will affect Tanjiro, how it could affect his relationship with Nezuko, all that good stuff.
Yuki, god damn it, man. I mean, I was going to bring this up later, but now that Yukinon's made that comment, I have to point something out. So, looking at comments online, in forums, is generally a mistake. It's genuinely, like, a bad idea.
Yes. Every
time I have looked, for example, at the comments on Crunchyroll, for certain episodes of anything, they've always been utterly face-palming. With that in mind, may I present to you something I spotted earlier when I was just looking up small details on episode 2 prior to this podcast. Let's see. Where was it? His sister is such a babe, damn. And then one of the people responded, bruh, she's like 8.
Wait a minute. No, she's not. There's no fucking way.
14.
Oh, I could buy that.
Now, this is the comments section on Crunchyroll. But, like, no. Just no. I shouldn't have looked. I'm very glad, by the way, I should stress I'm not currently looking at the comments on Crunchyroll for Shield Hero. Because holy shit, I think that might actually just drive me over the edge.
Yes.
But
yes.
Let's not do that. Yeah, generally speaking, I don't ever read the comments anywhere because I just don't trust them to be above the basic level of gibbering shit gibbon. So there you go.
No, don't do that.
No. Man, yeah, but yeah.
Oh.
This show, though, like, it didn't need to have this angle to it that we mentioned, you know, the ambiguity of the situations that they present themselves in, like, you know, killing the demon, dealing with Nezuko. You know, it could be very black and white. It could just be ultra-violent hark back to 90s era anime, where it's literally just, we're going to kill all the demons. Demons get killed, blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
It could just literally be that. It could be an ultra-violent action thriller.
Exactly. And there could be... you worry about that when you hear ninja and demons. You're like, how rapey will this be? But this is a Shadon Jump thing and not quite that.
Yeah. So there's more to it to that, which I again really appreciate. So going to be keeping an eye on this one going forward for certain.
I should mention the director, is a UFO table veteran. Like, he's been in charge of all those Tales of adaptations that they've done, which I will confess to not seeing a goddamn one of them. but I feel like every season for the last 2 years, or even more than that, there's the new Tales anime, or the new Tales game is getting adapted. And yeah, he's done all those, and I don't know what the viewership has been like. I do know that they look really pretty. So this is not this guy's first time out in terms of making an action thing.
I'd eagerly look forward to seeing more of it. Right, final show we're going to talk about. Unfortunately, we're going to end up on a bit of a low note here for a variety of reasons, which is One Punch Man Season 2. Okay, so if you want my Cliff Notes summary of what I thought of One Punch Man Season 1, I did think I actually included it as my top 10 of all time. I think it's a masterpiece. I think there's so much to unpack in it that people don't give it credit for, like how it takes, the piss out of, the hero industry, what it means to actually be a hero and heroism, that power itself is not the defining attribute that makes you the best or strongest hero. It's also legitimately funny, and the action scenes in it, for what otherwise should be something very stale and very dry of a character who literally can destroy anything in one hit, but always great to watch. The fight between Saitama and Boros at the end of Season 1, fucking masterclass, showcase moment in modern animation.
Yeah.
Even though we all knew what was going to happen in the end. Come on, the show's title makes it clear.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing, right? I'm always going to be one of those people who protests or preaches that good script should come first before good animation. That I will, prefer a show that doesn't have great animation but the script is solid versus a show that looks magnificent and has a crappy script. I still believe, but having seen what's happened to One Punch Man and its transition away from Madhouse to the current guys making it, whose names I don't even know.
Is it JC staff?
It might be, yeah. It's painful. It is painful to see, this show degrade, or this property degrades so much. You'd figure, given how successful One Punch Man Season 1 was, that they would have taken extra pains to make sure that it was in a good, set of hands, given its prestigious property, nature as a property, but apparently not. Which, that really makes me sad. And the worst thing is, in watching episode 1, I got the pervasive sense watching it that no one cared. The material didn't pop. It felt like business as usual to me.
Interesting.
The episode's title is The Hero Return. And this is the return of One Punch Man to animation after 3 years of absence?
4?
But it feels 4 even?
I think it was 2015.
Yeah. I mean, it just feels so pedestrian. There's no fanfare to any of it. It doesn't open with, the episode opens so plainly they never left. In the sense, we're going, Genos and, Saitama are going out shopping. And I'm this is not the breakneck pace or the starting gunshot that should have brought One Punch Man back. It didn't feel special as an episode to me. It didn't feel like it, got things going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the animation is one thing, certainly, but I just felt like this material in it was just a bit... I mean, I could quibble about certain contrivances, like King being, the 7th S-rank guy, even though I'm fairly certain he didn't exist in Season 1. I mean, it's a manga adaptation, so maybe I'm misremembering something here. Maybe he was in the manga and was more properly established. But to have him leapfrog all that, all those ranks, when, the Heroes Association now know who Saitama is and what he's capable of, bearing in mind that he did, fucking nuke Boros into, wallpaper paste. It seems a bit daft for what is essentially, oh, he's taking all the credit. And I'm I mean, maybe there's going to be more of this later on with, the fact that it just shows that the Heroes Association are really irresponsible because they're not protecting innocent people. Because King's life is in very real danger throughout much of this. But, I don't know, something about this episode just felt like it had no energy to it. About the one thing that this episode does better than Season 1, the only thing that I can think of is that Genos finally gets to fight someone and actually win.
That's an upgrade, yeah. That is good.
I mean, Genos was turning into the Worf of this right. of the show. But he gets in, has a fight, and he just loses. And
for to make a different analogy, he's the Hiroki Goto of anime.
I had to throw Star Trek. I don't know that. I don't know the fuck that is. He's the Dan Hibiki. The Hercule Satan.
Oh no! He's not a fraud. That's the Hercule Satan is fucking king.
Yeah, this is true. But I was watching the fight. When Genos appeared on screen, though, I honestly just thought, what the fuck's happened here? The metal, coloring. The metal shading for his arm. It looks like it was done using the fucking spray can tool in Microsoft Paint. That's how pathetic it looks. It looked awful. And I think back to that scene where Genos fights Saitama in Season 1, in I think episode 5 it was, after the Heroes Association test, where they have the really great scenes of Saitama just acing all of those tests. Except the fact he's a fucking idiot, but anyway. And then seeing him fight, and then looking how fluid it all looked, looking how powerful he came across as. Mm-hmm. I look at this and I think, I've seen better stuff scrawled on the side of subway stations than this shit. Come on! I wouldn't have minded so much if this was perhaps a lesser known property or a brand new one that, didn't have the prestige of the one coming before it. But it's just kind of shocking to me. And in case you think I'm being pedantic here just about how it looks, a lot of what made One Punch Man season work comedy-wise was its animation. How snappy everything looked. When Saitama was trying to chase the fly in episode 2.
That was very good.
That worked because of how well it was animated. Mm-hmm. You get to see this guy who we've just had established as godlike power. He cannot kill a fucking insect. And then, of course, he spots one away with ease later on. I again go back to my previous statement. A good script over good animation any day if I had to choose one or the other. But it really does go to show how important animation can be in elevating good material to greatness. Mm-hmm. I will give credit for one other thing, though. I like King's design, if only because he legitimately does look like he's walked off the pages of Hokuto no Ken. That's clearly what they were going for, and it works.
Oh my god, he really does.
He really does look like a Hokuto no Ken character, and it works. The rest of it, I'm just kind of on. And I'll have to see how things pan out. But, don't do this to me, Yuki. You're in my good books for having done the fan art, of us looking like Kappa. Don't make me think of this fucking alternate nightmare hellscape timeline where Sarazumai was directed by the person who did fucking Elfen Lied or some shit. Or it was made by B-Train.
Please, never.
No, thank you.
Get that away from my mind. Okay. One Punch Man Season 2. I liked it. I thought it was fine. I think, like you alluded to, I think it's a victim of expectations. And not that, we all knew, right? Whoops, I didn't mean to block the camera there. I think coming in, we all knew what had happened, but I mean, expectations set up at the end of season 1. For a long time, people were excited at the potential of what a second season could be if it looked similar or the same. I don't know. I don't get me wrong. I loved the animation in One Punch Man season 1. I thought it was fantastic. They were giving one properties really, really good treatment. But I thought that the heart of the writing from season 1 still came across in season 2. I think the whole story of King getting elevated to like a godlike status while not having any ability to speak of. Like it speaks to, and it is just another kind of riff on like the idea put forward in season 1 that like systems suck and like the Hero Association as kind of governmental or any other kind of societal system, like an allegory for that. Like it's just shitty, and people that are really deserving are not going to get placed where they can do the most good because of arbitrary goals and tests and red tape, while
popularity contests.
Yes, while people who know how to work the system will reap the most benefits despite not being the most meritorious or most well suited or able to do the most good for people. So I thought that was there, and I really enjoyed Saitama, like how he interacted with King and how he, like, I thought it was very right. You have a very Reagan in a way, like
who's like, hey, are you gonna play the video game yet?
Yeah,
I'm holding this back yet.
I'm not mad at you. Game? Yeah, I'm not mad at you. Like I get it. Like I have shit that I'm dealing with too, and I just need someone to hang out with. And how he won over another devoted disciple, basically, just by like being understanding, whenever anyone else I feel would be in the right to just be like, you motherfucker, you took all my deserved credit and fuck you, you're a fraud. You know what I mean? Like, so I enjoyed the material. And I mean, you certainly notice that the animation is not as good, but like I was saying earlier, like I just don't have an eye for this stuff. I think like nothing struck me as particularly terrible. You mean you could notice that
not even Genesis Banksian.
No, not really. It didn't bother me, but like, I mean, you could notice they weren't doing the things, the wild stuff they were doing in season 1, but I didn't think anything that was on my screen was particularly awful. You know, but because I guess I have a little bit of a contrarian in me, I've sought out like shows that supposedly the storyline was good, but the animation is so, but like this show has fucking nothing. And I know it has a name and expectations, but let me just tell you, go watch the Violinist of Hamelin TV series. I watched that shit because people involved with Berserk worked on it, the 97 Berserk, and because the director of Giant Robo and G Gundam, for some reason I can't remember his name, but and Tetsujin 28 and Get a Robo, Armageddon, the first 3 episodes, like he worked on this Violinist of Hamelin adaptation, and Mike Toole described it as barely animated. And it's fucking true. Like, it is some PowerPoint shit, but the story is great! And it's a good show!
Well, it is pretty much exactly like Berserk 97 then, funnily enough. It is barely animated, but it has a good story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's fair. I don't know. This is something that's based more on feeling rather than any objectives. You are entirely correct in your assessment of the material. But there just wasn't anything that popped in this episode. It didn't feel like anything special. It didn't feel like the boys are back in town. Like we've got the band back together. It just felt like back. Hi, we're here. Hello. Yeah, it did feel like it had enthusiasm behind it. And I'll be fair. I will be very fair. Like as Felix has pointed out in the chat, I am aware again via osmosis that this was an uphill struggle for the studio in question. They didn't have a lot of time. They're not Madhouse. Madhouse are a fantastic studio.
Yeah.
That's not me being rude to them, but just stating the truth. It just is such a shame for material, of this caliber, this heritage, or this prestige to be, let down like this. It feels in a little bit to me like what's happened with season 5 of JoJo's, part 5 specifically. Which I have, by the way, now dropped because I just got bored of it.
Oh man!
I know that's heresy right there.
That's a fucking. That's a blazing hot take. the fucking anime is lit, people are gonna come for you. They love JoJo's so much. Maybe they stand the manga for this art more than the anime. I don't know, but no, I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about it. Is it bad?
It's dull. Like, the thing about Part 4 is that, like, there was always something different going on. Like, there wasn't really an overarching goal with the story apart from two elements, which was Chili Pepper's fucking guy, I don't remember his name, and of course Yoshikage Kira. But there were other little vignettes here and there. You know, you had the let's go to the Italian diner one, let's have the Cinderella one, let's have Yukiko try and kidnap Koichi and all that shit. Like, there was a lot of individual elements that go on to it that kept things fresh. The motivations for people doing stuff in JoJo's Part 5 are so fucking weak. It's like, I want to stop drugs in the sea. Okay, cool. And then when they get to the boss finally, the boss decides to kill them all anyway, or at least kill Bucciarati and his daughter. And I'm like, oh, well, that's a very nice way to have, you know, no requirement to explain to your, you know, underlings, Bucciarati, why they now need to kill the boss. Because this fucking dorky 15-year-old purple coat wearing kid convinced you that drugs are bad after all this time. Weak motivations is all I'm saying. I was like, ugh, jeez, really? Oh, by the way, I'm just going to point this out as well. Giorno is a crappy protagonist because he doesn't do shit throughout most of the show.
Aww.
Like, Bucciarati is easily the more superior protagonist of the group. He feels like the one who's actually got agency behind him and is doing things. And his power set is infinitely more interesting than Giorno's, which is, I can make living things out of inanimate objects. Like, Bucciarati's is creative. He, like, zip lines literally down a lift, like an elevator shaft using it. And he hides a phone in his neck with it. Like, that's some creative shit. I like that.
Wait a minute. He hides a phone in his neck?
He can make zips that, like, he can into alternate dimensions.
Oh. That's, like, sort of gross and weird and interesting.
It's so cool. It's super cool. He does some cool shit with it. And I'm just here, like, boring. Oh, also, Trish is fucking useless. Like, I have a real pet peeve when they have a female character in there who doesn't, like, who just exists mostly for eye candy and doesn't do shit all. I think she's had maybe, like, up until the point where, you know, her father tries to offer maybe about 10 lines. Can we not have her do something more here? Is that a bit unreasonable for me to ask for? I'm not expecting her to be, like, you know, the fucking uber heroine mensch, whatever you want to call it. I'm not expecting to be a Mary Sue or some shit. I'm expecting to have at least something to fucking do. Now, I'll grant you that apparently has happened recently with some episodes where she finally pulls her fucking finger out and does shit. But she's just, like, if they were taking a fucking sack of jewels to Giovanni, Giovanni, what am I talking about? Diavolo. If they were taking a fucking sack of jewels instead of her, you wouldn't need to change anything. If they just literally went to give him a suitcase full of money, that would have had the exact same effects on the plot prior to, you know, him trying to kill him. Oh, God. I should be mad about JoJo's. I know that's heretical. But
well, you can always just watch part 6 when this is over.
It's just, honestly, it's just as, it feels as phoned in as a Baccio stand. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum. Couldn't resist. Couldn't fucking resist. That joke just makes itself. Anyway, that's my ad-lib, or mad-lib, shall we say, JoJo's Part 5 review. Dull as fucking ditch water. Skip.
Okay, well...
By the way, no, I'm not done, actually.
Oh, okay.
Another thing that pisses me off. Dio being Giorno's father is utterly irrelevant. What a fucking waste of potential. I'm not, again, asking for a big, deep character introspection here. I'm not asking for, like, you know, soliloquies and Hamlet-like shit and, oh, the sins of the fathers and all that crap. Like, it only needs to be as relevant to Giorno as Joseph being Josuke's father was, which was to say, occasionally, when we could tell a good story with it. They're not doing shit all of it here. Such fucking waste, honestly. He's only Dio is only his father because he's someone you know.
Right.
You remember this guy. He was important.
For connection's sake.
Yeah, fan service of the lore kind rather than TNA.
For lore reasons.
Yeah, and I'm
Oh,
just
man.
like, ugh. Anyway, never mind. Never mind. Right. Well, I think we've covered all the shows we want to talk about. Oh, go on.
Actually, I was gonna say, if any more thoughts on One Punch before I talk about something you haven't seen?
No, I know the next episode is out, so I'm gonna watch that in a moment.
Okay.
And oh boy,
I hear it has a lot of animation directors, which is usually like the Sakuga people will point to that as like a sign of some rough going.
The hot potato.
Yeah.
No, you do. You're doing this. No, you're doing this. I ain't touching that shit. You fucking do it.
Or maybe they like a bunch of managers have to manage intensely like multiple parts of a project or something to get it to air. I don't really know what it means. It could be that also the hot potato business. Just really quickly wanted to mention this other show I'm watching called Mix, Meisei's Story, the newest. Is it Toru Adachi? I know Adachi. I think his first name is his.
Was he the character from Persona 4?
No, no, stop it.
That is literally his name.
Is it? What's his first name? Is it
Toru
okay.
Adachi?
Well, that's why I'm thinking of Toru. Then let's see. Let me Google Adachi manga, and then I can get Mitsu. Why did I think of Mitsuru Adachi? Toru Adachi. Fuck me, man. Fuck my fucking anime knowledge in this dad brain. Mitsuru Adachi, well known for being a really excellent writer of like coming of age teen drama stories wrapped in kind of the coding of sport. Also well known for its character designs that a lot of people don't like. And listen, I'm not gonna like defend them as like incredible because they are funny to look at sometimes. But I mean, when we're gonna like when nobody's gonna sit here and also take shots at like Osamu Tezuka for a lot of his character design, like it's the same. I feel kind of you could look at it as a similar kind of silliness for you to be like their ears look like donuts or whatever. But if you can get past any hangups you might have with the character designs, I feel like Mitsu Adachi has like such a strong he's an incredible storyteller and writer. You know, people kind of also accuse him of playing the hits over and over. I think from what I've seen, the stories are different enough. But admittedly, I haven't seen a bunch, and I don't like watch them back to back. Like I watched Cross Game a few years ago. Now, and I should confess, Cross Game is my favorite anime of all time. Number one, when we did our ranking that you can view on our YouTube, it's been number one for a long time for me, for a lot of personal reasons, but also ones that aren't, because I think the anime is fucking incredible. Mix is his work. It's a pseudo sequel to an extremely popular sports anime called Touch, from the 80s, that he did.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah. So that's why I say pseudo sequel, is it like it's in the same universe, like about the same school. Old characters are referenced, but not without notation. You don't need to have seen Touch. But the reason they can get away with it is because Touch was such a fucking institution. It was like they reference this in Mix, but they often play music from Touch at actual baseball games in Japan, because like it is just massive popular.
That pop culture penetration there, Jesus.
Yeah, for sure. And so like yeah, this is where do I start with talking about Mix? So that's the heritage of Mix. But the show itself, I mean, if you've seen Cross Game or Touch, you probably know what to expect. The first couple episodes are, just introducing the cast. It's about a little family. One is three children, three teenagers. a brother and I can't remember their names, but there's one brother and sister whose dad married his spouse died, and he married the mom of this other brother. So there's sort of a step, and this will probably lead to some romantic tension between the stepbrother and stepsister. I wouldn't be shocked. But it has not delved into that at any point. And I don't know like how to talk about what I like about this show, cuz like what actually happens is not a lot. Like it could be kind of slow. I think if you are looking at a plot outline, just people going to school, baseball practice, conversations, but it's such I love the characters already. Like he's just got this knack for building these really likable characters, and they don't have to be talking all the time. There's a lot of scenes where silence is there because it's naturally would be there. And the thing I like about Adachi's work or the anime that I've seen, the adaptations, they don't really force their feelings down your throat. You're kind of free to feel how you want about a lot of what's happening, and you're encouraged to as well, because a lot of times you'll see a situation and think, well, this is fucked up. Like this one guy is a fucker, but everyone knows about the situation and they don't treat him that way. And then you will sort of learn over time, like, oh, there's reasons for this person to be doing what they're doing. And man, I'm just so excited because I loved Cross Game so much. Like Cross Game, God, was just everything about it was so important to me at the time and so good. And you don't have to be like a big baseball fan, I don't think. I mean, it helps to know I guess a little bit of the rules. They haven't really played any games yet, so I don't know if in Mix they'll explain to you, in notes, like what the rules are or the different situations. But I don't think you have to be a big sports junkie. I think you just have to be a character person and want to see some good character writing and some good coming of age stuff, some good teen drama stuff. I love it. It is. There's just something special about it. That's really hard for me to put my finger on, other than I feel like I've said a fair bit about it, but I don't think, to my satisfaction, really pinpointed the things about it that I like most. It is. There's just this. I don't know. There feels like there's this weight to it and this depth to it, despite it not being like, this show is fucking heavy, bro. Like it's not. Like it just feels so fucking real. And I don't mean like it's raw and intense. It's just like, it just feels grounded. And man, I just fucking love it. I love it. And watch Cross Game if you haven't. If you don't want to watch something old, start watching this. It's only 2 episodes.
So it's not just a mixed bag.
No. It's not a mixed bag. It's not meise. It's really clean. It's not meise.
I had to make that joke. I'm sorry. I'll close out by telling you what else I've been up to, which is I recently read, talk about reading now, I read Land of the Lustrous Volume 8. And, well, no spoilers, because shit gets revealed, finally, after like a point where I was starting to feel a little like tense about not finding anything out anytime soon, that we get to like volume 565 before we find out Sensei's real fucking name. But yeah, a lot of great stuff is revealed, and then Foss decides, I'm going to use this in the worst way possible. And I'm watching these events unfold on the paper in front of me, I'm like, don't you fucking do it. Why? You fucking imbecile.
Because she's
You're gonna ruin everything. Oh, jeez Louise. But yeah, man. I will say no more other than that if you've been waiting for answers, you'll get them.
Oh.
But I will say as well, remember what I said to you all way back when at the start of this stream? Well, I might be complaining in a sense about what Foss does in the book. I'm not complaining in the sense that, I think that it doesn't narratively make sense. This is all being very coy about it because I've said I will spoil. But that's what I'm telling you. Characters can make mistakes. Catastrophic, stupid, bloody, ignorant, what the fuck are you thinking mistake. But as long as we understand why they came to make that course of action, the story still continues to work just fine. And naturally, of course, it leaves on a cliffhanger that just means I have to wait another agonizing couple of months. The next fucking volumes get translated and released. God damn it. I'll probably still be reading it, when I'm 18, it's great, why'd they fuck up so hard again? I cannot believe this shit. I've been waiting all my fucking life to find out what Sensei's real deal is. And he's just a wee fucking tight. I don't know.
Have you become an Irish old man somehow?
I'm just regressing back to my ancestral state.
Oh my. Well, what other shows should we be watching?
Yeah, tell us. If any of you suggest the fucking Thigh Girl anime, I'm going to shoot you. I've got enough shit on my plate dealing with Shield Hero right now. I don't need anything else bad in my life.
Yuki suggested an isekai show. A very basic,
Nope.
Listen, there is good isekai, I promise.
No.
And I don't mean just ReZero, right? I mean,
ReZero is deeply flawed, and I will have massive arguments about this with you at some point in the future.
We will. It's a good show, flaws and all. But I don't mean just that. Isekai, before it had that name, and before that really was a cottage industry. There has been person gets transported to another world, anime. As far Escaflowne is the first one I can think of, and that's a classic.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Not anime. Get out of here.
Still technically an isekai though.
These were novels. Oh, what is it called? 12 Kingdoms. Is marketed as a shoujo thing because isekai was not didn't have the kind of cultural currency that it does now, but it's an isekai show and it was fantastic. I wish they would animate the rest of the books. 12 Kingdoms just ends, and I was so mad. It's such a fucking good show. God,
were there even 12
good.
Kingdoms in it?
Yes. We didn't get to see them all. But man.
Oh, well, fuck that then. What the fuck's the point of saying it's... If you say 12 Kingdoms, I want my 12 fucking kingdoms. I ain't here for, no 3 kingdoms or 4 kingdoms or 5 kingdoms fucking, bullshit. I want me 12 fucking kingdoms.
Wow, really? On Blu-ray, 12 Kingdoms, fucking A, man. Thank God. I need to replace the DVDs. That show could look boss in Blu-ray. But Escaflowne is probably my top isekai, if you want to call it that. Again, it was not labeled as such when it came out.
I wouldn't. Man, it doesn't sound like there's a lot of competition in that particular field.
Well, listen, I'm telling you, good stuff exists in that vein.
I'm sure. I mean, here's the thing, right? I'll tell you this now because, believe it or not, I will be talking about isekai again, Shield Hero at some point. The premise itself of someone coming from the real world to a fantasy world of some description isn't inherently a bad idea. It can be a good idea. I mean, believe it or not, Grant the Thief, shouts to Grant, put out a thing recently in which he said Futurama was isekai. And I read that and I felt like... Yeah, and I felt like my soul evaporated from my body reading that. Thanks, Grant. But then it was pointed out in other things the Matrix is technically an isekai. If you take that concept, it can be done in a really interesting way. I'm not kidding. I'm not wrong either, and you fucking know it.
Please tweet the Matrix was isekai.
Someone's already done it. I would just be ripping them off. I'm just quoting from them. But I'm not wrong, and you fucking know it. Right? So, but...
Is it? Because
going from one world to another. It just happens to be you're going from the fantasy land to the real world. You're going in reverse.
It's a reverse isekai. Oh, fucking hell!
Did you enjoy the red pill there, Doc?
Please never say that again.
Look, right, just because outright fuckwits have quotes that phrase doesn't mean that I didn't use it in the way in which it was originally intended as a reference to the film itself. Thank you very much. Anyway, so as I was saying, the premise itself is not inherently inviolate, but what I find I have a big issue with is that they don't often do much with it. Like, once the person gets from Earth, quote-unquote, to the fantasy land, the fact that they came from that previous place is mostly irrelevant. It doesn't matter. ReZero even had this problem. Once Subaru was there, him being from Earth was about as relevant as, his clothing. Rarely brought up and never really a big deal. In fact, that's one of the problems I have with Shield Hero, which is, funnily enough, something I'll again say for the inevitable, dissertation.
The tracksuit. Genuinely accepted wardrobe in medieval times.
Yeah, exactly. But, to me, people, or rather writers, only use isekai, or the idea, at least in anime. Again, I'm not speaking necessarily for all of fiction here. But for me, the trend tends to be, it's simply as self-insert, staging. You could be this guy going into this world, and it's because you've got a special talent that no one else can see. But once you're in this world, you can, unleash it. And I'm just here I already could give less of a fuck. Thanks, show. I mean, I never saw the whole thing because I, don't hate myself that much, but I did once watch a Rift episode of Dog Days, which was an isekai.
Yeah.
And it sucked balls, by the way.
Okay.
What a crappy show.
Here's the thing that I think, I feel like more isekai should... I feel like a lot of
not be shit?
Well, they should not be shit, but I feel like a lot of the ones I've watched of recent vintage, it really is, just an excuse to do a fantasy show. Like you said, with a self-insert character. And they don't take advantage of, here's this character who has talents and abilities they bring from their world that while... Maybe
that seems that your average otaku has talents and abilities that they can bring.
Well, no, exactly. It doesn't have to be... Well, it doesn't have to be... right. That's what, yeah. It doesn't have to be about... well, no, it's... Look, I'm not going to fight you on that. But it doesn't have to be... It doesn't have to be about otaku. In Escaflowne, Hiromi was on the track team, and she wasn't, the greatest ever. She was good. But, she'll use that to her ability. She's very fast and she can jump long distances that other people wouldn't be able to. Well, and that factors into the story.
Well, this is the thing I was going to say about Dog Days. To its credit, even though I think it's a piece of shit, the protagonist is some parkour fucking master kid. And he feels like he can't truly explore his craft because, well, he lives in the country, doesn't live in a fucking urban environment where he can start making a career on YouTube doing viral videos. Point being... I get that idea there, I'm in this different world and now I can use my parkour to do things like fighting and shit, and that's great. I get to finally cut loose. Cool. But, in my experience, the vast majority of the time, it's just complete nothing. I still keep thinking back to Sword Art Online, for example, and the thing that blows my fucking brains about that is that the last episode that I saw before I gave up on it, episode 8, the fucking fact that they were trapped in that digital world against their will and would die if killed in said digital world. Again, Matrix reference here. Do you know how many times that came up in that episode, despite the fact that should be on the forefront of every single person's mind? None.
Zilch.
Zero. If I watched that episode out of context, I would not know for a second that that was the situation that they were in. I would have believed that this might have just been a simple session where they logged in, had this adventure, and logged off again. That's how relevant that plot point was to Sword Art Online, at least as far as I got.
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know what? If you're not even going to take your own premise seriously enough to justify the very reason you're doing this show, why the fuck should I? Kiss my ass. Stop wasting my time. Oh, and by the way, spoilers for the podcast, Shield Hero commits the exact same fucking sin. Because its own apocalypse, guess how much that matters or feels threatening or relevant to the actual plot of the show? Barely fucking matters. Most recent episode I watched, episode 7, not even mentioned once. Again, same sin as Sword Art Online. If you're not even going to put that in there and do anything interesting with it, don't fucking bother. This is old angry Shadon coming out now. You can feel it. You can feel the energy coming out of me here, like, you know, when I was talking about Franks and all the other crappy stuff that we've talked about. So yeah, buckle up for that. There's your sneak preview, folks, of me talking about Shield Hero.
And I feel like they're all like, these shows want to be like, you know, I'm retreating now into this world where I really can like belong and bury myself in it. And there may be a few challenges here and there, but I don't have to overcome the same kind of challenges that were facing me in my everyday life. I feel like there's a difference between like MMO Junkie, which I felt like about helping them grow outside the game also, and like an isekai.
MMO has a big problem in that it never ever addresses Morioka's career issues. Like, she quits the job and then the issue of her not having a job or having one never comes up again, despite the fact that obviously money is finite, which I thought was one of the two big weaknesses of that show. Like, you know, you don't get cured from having a bad job experience by hooking up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend. That's not how this works.
Well, it does help her
yes,
talk to people and go on dates and stuff in IRL.
But the job issue never ever comes up again. For all we know, she's still, you know, leeching off Sakurai 10 years in the future, while he goes to work and she's just being the housewife who isn't looking after a kid, but instead is just multi-boxing his and her accounts on the game.
I mean, not to spoil too big the end of Escaflowne or whatever, but I mean, I just love that she, although she has experiences in the fantasy world that change her life forever and make her like a better person and help her grow up some, she like takes that back to the real world because she has to go back to the real world. And she was a sojourner, like a stranger, you know, and the person that tried to stay behind in the fantasy world turned into an evil piece of shit who, by the way, again, I'm going to spoil an incredible revelation in Escaflowne, but it's like 30 years old, just about. That person who tried to stay in the fantasy world is none other than Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton is the bad guy in Escaflowne.
You know, I was going to follow up by pointing out that Spirits of the Way is technically an isekai. And that's one in which the character does return to the real world and has learned a lesson and grown up a little bit. So, yeah, once again, I'm going to leave you all with this particular note. Once again, Studio Ghibli knows how to do shit right. Not that you needed me to tell you that.
No, right.
Not
I
really.
told the bell.
Anyway, that's everything I wanted to talk about this evening. We're going to have to wrap up shortly, but thank you everyone who joined us today for this little, indulgence in us talking about, not only, as it turns out, the couple of episodes from shows that started this season, but also just various other things. Yeah. Thank you very much for taking the time to enjoy our inane babble, as always. We will be back next week. We don't know the exact date yet, as we need to hammer it out owing to Easter. But we will be back next week to discuss Saranzamai Episode 2. We have other plans going forward, of course, for additional content. You already know now what's been put out of the bag with me deciding to tackle this year's most controversial, anime ever, because, again, I hate myself and I feel like, I could probably do less harm by trying to, perform cunnilingus on a fucking toaster. But anyway, you'll be keep an eye out for that and other stuff that we'll be announcing soon. And from me, I will very quickly state that I hope you all have a fantastic Easter, whatever you may be doing, whether you observe the holiday seriously or whether you observe it through the, just shoving your face in a chocolate egg. Whatever floats your boat. Yeah. As long as you enjoy it, that's all that matters. So, yeah. Thank you all very much for listening. Thank you all very much for joining with us. Doc, you got anything else you want to add?
I also need to watch Robohachi Mirror. I've heard it's been heavily recommended to me. No, I hope you all get a day or two off from work, more than normal, or school, and are able to just chill. And if you want to reflect. If you want to just rest. Just get refreshed. Enjoy the time off. Have a fabulous Easter. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Like Shadon said, we will be back next week for Stars and Mai to try to untangle that mess. And
nothing messy about it, Kero. It's a good show.
Yes. We'll try to interpret all the various anal liquids being spewed about and tell you what that means. Follow us on Twitter at Warui Deshou et al. We love you. Thanks for hanging out. Embrace each other, everyone. To the ends of the universe. Mwah.